This video recording was made on the 17th of December from an S-76 helicopter of the north coast of Heard Island. We were traveling at about 1,900 feet of altitude. In the first case, we took off from Atlas Cove and flew quickly down to the end of the island and then started the official survey on the south coast from the end of the spit and did a clockwise trip around the island. This now is a view of a Challenger Glacier, as we're going down the island towards the spit and our starting point. As we came down the island, we came into view of Compton Lagoon, with the Compton Glacier in the background. Note the openings to the open sea there. This one is Brown Lagoon with Brown Glacier up above. Brown Glacier has receded quite a lot since other people have noted. We can see in the distance Stevenson Lagoon. Coming up onto the tongue of Stevenson Glacier, showing down into the lagoon. And as we're moving out from Stevenson, note how extensive the water is compared to what's shown on the maps. Lots of ice in Stevenson Lagoon. Brash ice from calving off in the glacier. There are the water tanks at Stevenson Lagoons getting at the end of the spit. Now we're traveling out on the north side of the spit from the base of the spit. Having gone around the end of the spit, now we're traveling along the south side back towards the island, and from this point we'll be doing the official stereoscopic images that are also found in the archival information about this Heard Island expedition. Coming up on the south side of Stevenson Lagoon, note that you can see the glacier in the background, and in this case the ice does not break through. Just at the corner there was a large penguin colony, probably macaronis, or perhaps gentoos. That's the sandbar that prevents the Stevenson Lagoon from entering the sea. And as we're getting farther along there, we'll soon see the Winston Lagoon coming into view. This is Paddock Valley looking around, and the beginning of Winston Lagoon. Small crater just at the edge of the lagoon. Now to Winston Lagoon, the glacier still reaches down to the water level, and that there is a breakout so that it opens to the open sea. Here's a closer view of that breakout area with the surf. Moving along the coast, we get to the Cape Lockyer. On further, this starts to move into the Lambeth Bluff area on the left-hand side of this image. Looking at the very steep slopes of the Lambeth Bluff. We had quite a spectacular, fairly clear day for this project. Looking up the slope, some of the red rocks up in the top. Now this is the end of the Lambeth Bluff and opening out into the 51 Glacier. those lagoons that are in the front are not on our chart, so they potentially are new features. Somewhere out in the background there, that also joins in with the Decock Glacier. Looking back now, this is the west end of the 51 Glacier and coming into the Deacon Hill area and the Levitt Bluff area, and then arriving in the Long Beach area. We're looking above the Long Beach area now. This is Dillon Hill above the Long Beach area. Waterfalls were quite common around the island. We saw them in all kinds of places. It's quite evident that there's lots of water coming off of the ice cap in the various glaciers. This is the Gothley Glacier, having passed through the Long Beach area. This next ice-free area is Cape Arcona. Still in the area of Cape Arcona, looking now sort of behind the helicopter and panning across. Lots of good green vegetation there. Riding now at the bottom of the Lead Glacier. The next ice-free area that will be coming into view in a moment is at Cape Pillar. Again, pretty heavy flow in the streams coming down off of the Lead Glacier and the ice cap itself. That's the entire Cape Pillar area in one shot there. This is Henderson Bluff now. The glaciers are not named on our maps, but this is just a small outcrop down at the edge of the island with a black-browed albatross colony on the top. There's good coverage by the still photos of that. Carrying on from Henderson Bluff, we get into the Walsh Bluff area. Cape Gazart with Pulpit Rock on the lower right hand of the screen. Looking off the distance into the Vazel Glacier. Now panning back so that we can see Walsh Bluff, Henderson Bluff, and Cape Pillar receding off into the distance towards the south. crossing the Valsal Glacier now, getting into the area around Kildalkey Head, before Kildalkey Head, just below the Pagios Moraine, and then reaching right up to where you can see now the isthmus leading into the Nullarbor Plain again. Crossing Mangoro Head. See the ship there in the background in Atlas Roads, and now starting on the south side of the Lorentz Peninsula. Looking right along the most of the south side of the Lorentz Peninsula. Now we've arrived at West Cape. And looking farther along the coast from West Cape and up into the higher country. Close shots again, ratcheting back to West Cape and looking along the shore more perpendicular to the ship. Looking at Mount Dixon there. Looking up onto Mount Dixon, the farthest west peak on the Lorentz Peninsula. And now down more perpendicular to the shoreline. That's Red Island in the distance there. And the feature in the foreground is Macy Cone. Here's a closer view of Macy Cone on the right-hand side and the features associated with it along the shore. Looking up behind Macy Cone, you can see the flat country with a lot of vegetation and a few small ponds. Pretty good sized sea caves there on that feature near Macy Cone. This is the isthmus that reaches out to Red Island. Note the green color of that lagoon. That lagoon is not named on our chart, so I don't know what to call it. Here's Red Island itself. Red Island itself here with quite a lot of vegetation up around the side of the peak, the east-facing side of that peak, and there's also a penguin colony up along the top there. Coming around now below the Sentinel at the Charles Carroll Bluff area, and where it gets into the high cliffs of the east side of the Lorentz Peninsula. Looking into the somewhat more gentle valley area where there are penguin colonies up in there. coming around Van Hoffen Bluff. Now we're continuing on because we're redoing the north side from Rogers Head, which you see in the image here, and continuing the survey to repeat that until we get to the spit again. This lagoon is on Hoseason Beach, just beyond the Bowdison Glacier, which we'll see coming up here, and we'll see the east end of the Bowdison appear in the image just before the break. Saddle Point. Looking at the area just east of Saddle Point. Return back to Compton Lagoon, looking straight into Compton Lagoon up to the peak. And now along the beach as we proceed towards Brown Lagoon. And this is Brown Lagoon then, with Brown Glacier up above it. Now out to the end of the spit, there's quite a large break in the spit, and at the end is now a separate island, as you can see here. From our charts, that was probably a single long spit in the fairly recent past. Now we had a marvelous opportunity to get up to altitude. We went up to maximum of about 10,000 feet and approached Big Bend to where we could see it very clearly. You can see in the video there is a broken cloud layer at a lower level and a cap of clouds on the top, but we had a fairly clear view of the whole mountain. We could actually see the sky through between the mountain and most of the top of the peak, but the top of Mawson Peak itself was just barely obscured in the clouds, so we couldn't see the very, very top. Looking much more straight down on one of the beaches. This is coming back now, looking up the mountain. We came back fairly high and over the coastline. So this image is looking up towards the mountain. Coming back around Azarella Peninsula and Rogers Head, there's the huts and ruins at Atlas Cove. And finishing up, landing on the deck of the Aurora Australis.